The Leopard 1, by far, one of the most dangerous tier 10s in the game. I'm not going to say the most dangerous because there are other vehicles which I classify as more deadly, but the Leopard 1 is a really, really strong vehicle. It has almost 4,000 DPM, which is insane. Now, I run calibrated, so it's closer to like 3,700, but still, it's got a ridiculous amount of DPM. It has the best on-movement dispersion and accuracy in tier 10, and when you pair that with the best-in-class mobility, adaptive concealment, and the fact that the vehicle has insane reverse speeds due to gear oil, which this player is not running. Interesting. My recommendation is drop that protective kit and put on gear oil, or drop a small food and put on gear oil. It is much more important to be able to reverse out of a situation 4 kilometers faster than it is to get a, you know, 0.3 second reload reduction. But that's what I'll say. Either way, this was a very high damage battle, so I'm not going to criticize the player or their loadout. But what I will say is I think that realistically, drop protective kit, run a double repair kit. You don't need accuracy on the Leopard 1. It already has it. And then you can run gear oil and you'll be a little bit better off there. Oof, that was unfortunate. Maybe you do need accuracy on the Leopard. I don't know why, but the Leopard seems to miss like really easy shots sometimes. Nah, that's not going to hit. Maybe, actually. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if that shell did hit at the end. But it did disappear, but I don't know if that's also because it just went out of render range. Either way, we're going to move up over to the medium side. Being able to hold Castilla medium side is really important. However, that play there, that's a little sus. And that's exactly why. You don't know what is camping in the spawn on Castilla. And making an aggressive play like that can be really bad, especially if they have a grill and a Conway staring at that position. You could get yourself killed very quickly. Never, ever poke that position unless you have gun depression and a really good turret. The Leopard has neither of those. And, you know, it worked out fine, right? You spotted the 50B, now you have a little bit more information on what's here. But if it didn't work out in your favor and you got shot by the grill or even the Conway, and then you were 1,200 health and that TVP decided to YOLO you, guess what? Your whole game might be ruined. So it doesn't take many mistakes to knock yourself out of the battle, especially in the current meta that we're sitting in. Smarter, not harder. But so far, not much is really going on. TVP, that was just an unfortunate shot. Your auto-aim pulled down on the TVP instead of staying on the turret. Alright, aiming it on the TVP again. There you go. Nice. He actually went through the gun and did another 360-ish damage. What's great about the Leopard is that it actually has really good damage per shot. 360 is great because it's enough that you'll roll into the 400s a lot, and you don't really roll below 300, which is really nice. So the 50B is doing classic I'm a 20%er maneuver here and just YOLOing because he has a clip and a gun. So the Leopard's actually playing the smart and shooting the enemy 50B. This is where I put on adrenaline and I would start farming the heck out of this player. I don't think I'd be HEing it though. The Leopard only has 400 high explosive damage per shot, and because of that, yeah, there you go. I mean, you missed that one shot. My opinion, it's not worth it to HE a 50B at that distance, especially with only a 40 DPS advantage. It's just not worth it. But this player has learned, and they are now only firing AP. However, mistake, I will say, should have shot the track wheel. You had plenty of opportunity to. It still would have damaged the 50B, and it would have locked that player in place, which would have probably allowed you to get that final clearing shot. It's not that big of a deal, but now you have to get that 50B cleared if you ever want to deal with him or push over to that side of the map, which is just a waste of time, and it keeps you spotted. So we have the VK-72, which you get a nice shell into the track wheel, although I think that was a little bit off, but it did go into the track wheel, so no problems there. Another blind shot at the enemy VK-90. I'd take one more. Yes, nice. Oh, never mind. I thought they were going to take one more, but you never know if you've permanently tracked that player or not. So we got the VK-45 over here, and we also have the 50B. Okay, well, 50B is put on reactive and is YOLOing again. What a shocker. We love our YOLOing autoloaders. Again, why are you going? You got to go for those track wheels, my dude. Track wheels are such an important play because it allows you to keep a player stuck. That's like, again, you have a very easy exposed track wheel. I would definitely recommend, because I can see you're a skilled player with how you're, well, I don't know what's going on here. Load gold, you'll pen him in the roof every single time. You'll see the roof is now an instant pen. And this is definitely where I would activate reticle calibration to guarantee those pens in well. But I will definitely say, one of the things that elevates a player from 3,000 average damage to 3,500, 3,600 average damage is going for track wheels. It I know, probably is annoying for me to repeat myself over and over, but at the end of the day, locking somebody down, especially with a vehicle that has the ability to permanently track someone or keep them in the open for a prolonged exposure, it's huge. So taking advantage of that is something you definitely need to. Nice shell into the 50B. And now we're going to get behind the VK-45. There you go, nice shot. And obviously, just going to poke him again here. Doesn't really matter if you get shot at this point, because you're going to clear him anyway. And this VK has about zero point 0.2 brain cells. Alright, well, 5,687 damage dealt now. But your team still isn't doing the best. I just watched your 183 get obliterated. I definitely climb up this hill and get this VK90 shot. And there you go, nice. Put on your reticle Cali, too. Yeah, nice. Alright, put on your adrenaline, sweet, but too late, unfortunate. Well, it still looks like you got a shell into that player, and you have the M6 shell. Definitely not going to be a high explosive pen. Ooh, the one time you go for the track wheel, it does not go where you want it to. That is rather tragic. But you do get a nice shell into the Yo either way, and the Yo is still sitting there, which means you'll get another shell out. I'm surprised that VK90 is honestly not shooting you, because it's not a hard shot. I wouldn't poke this. I really wouldn't. I don't think that's a good play. Yeah, especially because, again, you don't know if that VK90 is still up there. You could have honestly killed yourself. That's not a great play. Oh, the VK90 backed off. But again, you never know where the enemy is. You also don't know where the grill is. So positioning yourself in that area is not a great maneuver. I'm watching this Leopard struggle to climb up this hill. Problem was they didn't fully go onto the green part, which is where you need to climb. Go for the track wheel. Oh boy, we'll see what happens here. We'll see what happens. Go for that track wheel, you goober. Okay, well the grill misses, but definitely got to go for those track wheels more often. There you go, 340 damage into the grill there. Yep. I'll be honest, if you didn't poke that Yo again, you would have lived. And I'm not sure why you did poke the Yo, because that's just not a positive trade. And you definitely could have done a lot more damage this game. You could have killed the grill, and you still could have pushed the Yo, and you would have been able to farm both of them. So you probably could have done an additional, I'm going to guess, 500 damage this game, which is a lot when you're already sitting at 8,257. So let's take a look at the end results here. What actually happened? Well, this game ended up being 9,005 damage, which is a ridiculous amount. And it was a draw. Did the timer run out? Did the timer actually run out? That's insane if the timer ran out. Let me see. I wasn't even paying attention to the timer because it didn't feel like a 7-minute battle. Let me see. Come on. Uh-oh. I think I crashed the game. Oh, there you go. Yeah, the timer did run out. That's really surprising. Well, not a bad game played. If I had seen that the timer was running out, I definitely would have played a bit more aggressive. Like, this isn't my replay, but if I was in that situation, I would have played a lot more aggressive. I would have pushed all the way to the side immediately when that timer was running out, probably cleared the grill, gotten behind the Yo. I think that would have been the best play to get behind the enemy there, because then it would have distracted them, allowed your VK90 and VK72 to push up, and then you would have won. Wow, 0 damage Destiny. That's pretty tragic. But that was a pretty good battle. 9,005 damage as you hit some blind shots on that VK90, which is absolutely epic. I will say, though, there were definitely some misplays in that game. Some misplays that definitely would have probably allowed you to deal not only more damage, but come out with a victory there. As I said, going for those track wheels, there were so many opportunities there. You could have tracked the grill, which would have spun it and stopped it from being able to get to you. You could have tracked the 50B, which would have saved you time from having to clear it earlier. Could have tracked the VK45. That alone would have saved you a lot of time. When it comes to the other misplay, I'm not sure why you traded 900 health with that Yo for 700 damage in return. It would have been a lot smarter to ignore the Yo, push around wide, find the grill, clear the grill, and then get behind the Yo and distract him or do something else. Climb up the hill, you could have farmed the grill as well. So there were definitely a lot of moments there where I think a bit smarter plays could have been made. Shooting at the roof of the VK72 or VK45, you should have instantly loaded gold, as it should be pretty common sense that gold shells are going to overmatch the roof due to the shell normalization, but APCR and AP are going to bounce off. It was a really good battle, but I like to, say, could this have been a win? And that definitely could have been a win, and it could have been a higher damage farm if some of those mistakes were ironed out. And they weren't like, hard things either. If it was like, oh, I did all this and that and I carried, I get it. But, those I think were pretty rookie mistakes. So either way, Really good battle. I think that was a fantastic game. It's one of the highest battles in the Leopard that have been updated this month, but I do think that there could have been some micro plays that were better. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you'd like to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!